show, guys. Things are happening. Breaking news right now. Trump and Elon Musk are working on impeachments. Right now, Elon Musk has been investigating all the Department of Education, the Treasury, FEMA, all these things. And judges are now trying to block him from access. And they're also trying to block Trump's cabinet members from access, even the ones that have already been elected. Look at this. Musk calls for judges' impeachment. This is live updates, guys, because this is happening right now. Republicans aim to hammer out Trump's budget bill. And what's even more crazier is this right here. Obama judge banned Treasury Secretary Bessent from accessing his agency's data. Scott Bessent is over the Treasury, and a judge from the Obama era is blocking the leader of the Treasury from accessing the data of the Treasury. You can't make this stuff up, guys. This is how you know they are trying to hide something. There is corruption that is being found, and the Democrats are freaking out right now. This is why Trump and Elon are moving to impeach a huge number of judges that were elected by Biden, by Obama. Trump is calling for these impeachments of every judge that tries to prevent the investigations, the audits, to figure out what is actually going on. Because they wouldn't be blocking them, especially Scott Bessent, who's head of the Treasury, from accessing his own department's data if there wasn't something to hide. On top of that, Democrats are now openly threatening to stalling the federal government through filibusters or other means to make sure there is a government shutdown this week, everybody. Senator Andy Kim said he is ready to shut down the government over Trump's actions. On top of that, a former USAID official says agency staff deliberately kept Trump in the dark, fearing he'd shut down their programs. In one meeting, they allegedly said, "Let's make sure he never finds out." These claims of the USAID funneled businesses to insiders, blocked faith-based groups over politics, and retaliated against anyone who tried to expose their corruption. And on top of that, guys, you're going to be happy about this one. Since the release of the corrupt Harris CBS interview, Trump is now up the ante of his lawsuit from $10 billion to $20 billion. He is suing CBS 60 Minutes for their election interference. Everyone go ahead and say bye-bye, CBS. We got a ton of breaking news today, guys. It is insane. I want to say thank you to all of our viewers, all our subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Let me take care of you every day with the top news. And want to say thank you to all of our members of the channel. Guys, y'all are so amazing. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. Elaine Demeen, y'all show Elaine some love in the chat, guys. We want to thank you so much for your support and partnering with us as we give back to charity through this memberships and through the super chats. And just want to say, if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys, really helps to grow the channel. Thank you much for your support. We are getting into some hairy stuff right now. This live action of Musk calling for judges' impeachments. The Republicans are trying to work out the Trump's budget bill before the government defaults on its debt in just a couple of days. Check this out.
A lot of people are talking about. There is a little current of information I'm getting that the Department of Justice under Pam Bondi may be finally releasing a lot of information on this Jeffrey Epstein case, which is a huge deal. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I'm hoping it does. I've been covering it for a long time. The Jeffrey Epstein case, you do not know all the details of this thing, I promise. There are a lot of really obviously powerful people. This part you know, but the specific names we may not, including, I believe, the Clintons, based on information I discussed yesterday, who were knee-deep in involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, and no one can figure out what the level of entanglement is. Jeffrey Epstein met with Obama's fixer, his lawyer, Catherine Rumler, who was always the one in the middle of these Obama scandals, and we can't figure out why, what they're hiding. Here's Marsha Blackburn, who has been all over this. She's a senator from Tennessee, Republican, obviously. And she's like, hey, man, is it time now? It's time to start overturning that rock and seeing what's underneath it. Check
all the corruption, guys.
Repeatedly requested a subpoena for the complete, unredacted, Epstein flight logs from the FBI. I've also pushed for the release of Ghislaine Maxwell's unredacted little black book of contacts and addresses. The American people have the right to know who flew on his planes, who witnessed the crimes, and who potentially participated in his global sex trafficking ring. Yet time and again, in the last Congress, Democrat leadership and then FBI Director Wray stonewalled my request. But now, with Republican control of Congress and President Trump back in the Oval Office, we're going to see some real change on this issue. Just last week, the president's excellent pick for FBI Director Kash Patel vowed to work with me in releasing the Epstein records and breaking apart the trafficking rings that harm countless women and children across our country. To be clear, this is not a celebrity issue. This is about ending modern day slavery and finding out who is participating in these sex trafficking rings.
Did you hear the key part of that? The Ghislaine Maxwell Black Book. What names are in there, man? You understand how many powerful people probably want this thing to desperately go away? How many people were interconnected with this Epstein sex ring operation? I heard from a reporter once that there are tapes. A very well-respected reporter, many of you know, that there are a lot of tapes out there of a lot of people. I'm not ever going to let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I talked about it yesterday. You can go check it out. I'm not letting it go ever. Ever. Folks, the Clintons are knee-deep in that thing. The Clintons are at this point in their sad, sorry, pathetic, tragic careers where they've ruined the country, ruined the Democrat Party. The Clintons, you would think there'd be a time where the Clintons would just slither off into the sunset, collect their big fat speaking fees and go away. Especially given that Bill Clinton may be knee-deep in this Epstein thing. Not the Clintons. So you know I have a personal attachment to the Duffy family. What does that have to do with this whole thing? Well, Evita Duffy hosts the excellent Bongino Report Early Edition with Evita, a show we're very proud of. One of the most successful new podcast launches ever, by the way, thanks to her and her content. Well, her father is Sean Duffy, who is the Secretary of Transportation. I love Sean, known him a long time, good man. So the Secretary put out this tweet the other day, and how does this tie to the Clintons? Almost seamlessly. He puts out a tweet, says, big news, talk to the Doge team. Here's Doge again. They don't want anybody looking at this except, Secretary Duffy. Talk to the Doge team. They're going to plug in to help upgrade our aviation system. Sounds like a really good thing, right? Thank you, Secretary Duffy. We got this archaic aviation system. We just had an incident in Pennsylvania. We had an incident right at Reagan Airport. So, of course, Hillary Clinton, who can never shut up, the dossier, the Russia hoax, Whitewater, an endless litany of Hillary Clinton, Rose Law Firm, Vince Foster. Hillary Clinton has to stick her nose into everything because they just can't shut up. She says to Secretary Duffy about Doge, they have no relevant experience. Most of them aren't old enough to rent a car. And you're going to let them mess with airline safety that's already deteriorated on your watch? On your watch. The guy's been the secretary for like a week. Thankfully, he responded. Good job, Mr. Sean. Madam Secretary, with all due respect, experienced Washington bureaucrats are the reason our nation's infrastructure is crumbling. You need to sit this one out.
Smacking them, guys, with the truth.
I don't think I would have been as polite, but Sean's a good man. A nice Wisconsin disposition to him. They are terrified of Elon Musk's Doge team. Listen, I met Elon in a green room once. I don't know him at all. I said maybe 2-3 words to him. He was very kind to me, nice to my wife, took a picture with Paula. I don't know Elon. But But I'm going to tell you something. I think Elon Musk's most important piece of work and contribution to this fabric of America is not going to be Tesla. These are all important things. Not going to be SpaceX. I don't even think it's going to be him saving X. Those are all critical things. If this Doge continues to do what it's doing right now and uncovering what our government's been doing in our name and can fix even 50% of it, the footprint this guy will have left on our society would be amazing.
I know.
Guy said it right. Forget 50, 10, 20%. The stuff in just 2 weeks that Elon and Doge have found out is so mind-blowing that we're doing entire shows on it. It's why the left is freaking out and wants Elon in jail. Like, actually wants him in jail. A lot of people are talking about
it. It is getting crazy. That, like, even Steve Bannon came out and said, we're about to have a civil war in Congress. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, guys. Thank you so much for your support. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help out the channel so much. Thank you for your support. Lukiko YN1, welcome to the family. And thank you so much, Name Redacted, for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Name Redacted some love in the chat. And also, go ahead and show Teresa some love in the chat for joining the family. Guys, this is what Steve Bannon says. We're about to have a civil war within Congress. Why? Because of this right here. Obama judge banned the Treasury Secretary Besson from accessing his agency's data. Scott Besson is over the Treasury Secretary. Is over the Treasury. And he just got banned by an Obama judge for trying to access the data to figure out if there's any fraud. Well, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene calls for impeaching the rogue judges, guys. This is literally happening right now. I want to show you this. Even Musk is calling for the judges' impeachments as we speak, guys. Like I said, there is a lot of infighting happening right now in Congress because they're working. They're trying to hammer out the bill, Trump's big budget bill, before this week, because if they don't, then we're going to default on our debt and the government is going to shut down. I also wanted to show you this tidbit of news, guys. After CBS was forced to release the unedited version of their Kamala Harris interview, President Trump has doubled the value of his lawsuit against them from $10 billion to $20 billion. Why? Because election interference. They literally had the interviewer. They told the interviewer, ask this question. Kamala Harris didn't even answer, and they just recorded it. And then after he asked it, they stopped it, and then they let Kamala Harris just do whatever she wanted. And they edited it so much and made it look so good for Kamala Harris. If the average American would have watched it, they would have said, oh, heck no. This lady ain't about to be our president. But check this out, guys, because I'm telling you, more information is coming out by the day. Check this out.
If we can't sign you up to be the next wave of shock troops, to take on this apparatus, to save our country, and in saving our country, save the world and mankind, we're not going to win. They're going to come at us. We haven't started the hard part yet. You do understand this? They haven't started the hard part. We have to cut $1 trillion out of this budget. You think it's going to be easy? They sent a memo out to find out just where the money is in the system, and they had a meltdown. Because the money's everywhere. It supports even MAGA. It supports MAGA. Medicaid is just not an urban situation anymore. I think there's 80 or 90% of the babies in Idaho, which is the centerpiece of the Christian redoubt, are born on Medicaid. It's not going to be easy to cut 500 babies. It's not going to be easy to cut $1 trillion. It's going to be hard. You think they're in the streets now? You wait till then. We've removed 11,000 criminals in the last 3 weeks. 11,000. They're 12 to 15 million people. I'm just talking about the people that came here from the time Biden came in on January 21 to the time he left. I'm not talking about people here before. We can't do that. We have to be very precise about the invasion they allowed to happen. There's 10 or 12 million people here. Is that going to be easy? You think people are going to wilt when they start showing all the deportation porn? there's going to be close to a civil war.
Mm-hmm.
And the side
agree.
that wins is the side that says we're not going to quit. Do you have the guts to do that? Do you really? Do you really? Ask yourself that tonight. Seriously, ask yourself that tonight. That's going to be the difference. The side that does not quit, the side that has their objective, the side that is unrelenting and believes in their core being, not just your heart, your being. That's the side that's going to win. In 2008, the Wall Street crowd, along with the political class, everybody's getting wealthy. Then you have in the lead up to 2008, then you have a collapse, a total and complete collapse of the financial system. Lehman Brothers goes bankrupt on a Monday. On Thursday, my old boss, Hank Paulson, and Bernanke going to the Oval Office to see Bush. And they tell him, we need $1 trillion cash infusion by close of business, 5 o'clock today, or the American financial system will collapse in 48 hours, and the world financial system will collapse 72 hours after that. We know that because the congressional testimony was given later to exactly, those are almost quotes. Bush, a profile in courage, said, hey, I checked the Constitution, man, it's not my deal. You gotta go see Nancy Pelosi. Only the House can authorize that. And that's what they did. Think about that for a second. The Imperial Japan, Tojo, the Nazis, the fascists in Italy, the Bolsheviks, the Soviets, throw in Kaiser Wilhelm, nobody came close to destroying us. We had literally destroyed ourselves.
Yep.
So what did Wall Street do in the political class? Full of people like me that had gone to this great university and had all the credentials and all the breaks in the world that being part of the elite give you, they bailed themselves out. They took the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve from $880 billion to $4.5 trillion.
Golly.
That liquidity lifted everybody had real assets and financial assets. The president of the Federal Reserve in Texas said, if we go to zero interest rates and negative interest rates and provide this liquidity, this is going to screw working people in the lower middle class.
Yep.
There'll be no way for them to have capital formation. There'll be no interest on their little savings accounts or checkings account. That's exactly what happened. People making $35,000 a year bailed out the richest people in this country. The greatest concentration of wealth in the history of this nation occurred during the most progressive president in this country's history, Barack Obama. You know why? Because all the progressivism is all pro wrestling in the front. It doesn't matter. It's all for optics. Doesn't matter. What matters was money and power. They had the power and they gave themselves, they printed the money. And who paid for it? Did the little guy get a bailout? No, he paid for it. At the same time, what they did is they went to, because Obama found out about social media through Zuckerberg, at least he went 1 or 2 years here. Did he graduate? Did he graduate? Another great product to Harvard. Ought to be proud of this one. A criminal. Guess that makes us fellow.
Guys, let me tell you this, guys. The message is going everywhere. And I just showed you, everybody, that right now, Donald Trump just upped his lawsuit to suing CBS over the Harris interview from $10 billion to $20 billion. That happened last night. Well, guess what comes out this morning, guys? We have a new poll from CBS that makes Donald Trump look really, really good. C24 McD, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, let's make TrueLife News and MSN to promote Trump MAGA. Let's go. Y'all show C24 some love in the chat. So they asked this question, describe Donald Trump as. Remember, this is CBS, the same network that Donald Trump is suing. Describe Donald Trump. 69% said tough. 63% said energetic, 60% focused, and 58% effective. Guys, these are amazing numbers coming from what? A left-wing media outlet. Why? Maybe because they're getting sued. Watch this. This is the other polling. Trump's overall job rating, 53% approval rate. Trump and campaign promises is he doing? 70% believe what he promised in his campaign he is doing. Guys, this is beautiful. It is putting us in lock and step with where the American people want things to be at. And what I love is that it's continuing. We're continuing to see more and more and more. Thank you so much, Tracy Gardner, for the first time super chat. Let's go. Said, enjoy your show, Joel. I've been a member for almost 5 months. Appreciate what you do for us. Love the USA and MAGA all the way. Let's go. Y'all show Tracy some love in the chat. Guys, check this out.
The demolition man's in Washington, and he's up at the crack of dawn every day. Quote, President Trump's taking a sledgehammer to a bedrock of U.S. foreign policy, ripping up decades of soft power in favor of a highly personalized, transactional, coercive style of deal-making. Trump secured deals with Canada, Mexico, Colombia, Panama, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Venezuela. And he never had to bribe anybody from the soft power DEI bank. And today, he cut a deal with Japan. 47 hosted Japan's prime minister at the White House and made a pretty good first impression.
This was the first time meeting face to face, but for many, many years, I have watched him on television. So it was quite exciting. I was so excited to see such a celebrity on television, to see in person. On television, he is frightening, and he has a very strong personality. But when I met with him, actually, he was very sincere and very powerful and with strong will.
Then Japan pulled out the checkbook.
Oh,
Today,
yeah,
I conveyed
baby.
my willingness to cooperate together to elevate Japan's investment in the United States to an unprecedented amount of $1 trillion.
And Japan's going to be buying more gas and military equipment from America. Chalk up another win. This guy speaks Trump's language, and he knows how to handle the American press. Listen.
If the U.S. places tariffs on Japanese imports, would Japan retaliate?
I am unable to respond to a theoretical question. That's the official answer that we have.
That's a very good answer. Very good answer. Wow. That's very good. He knows what he's doing.
Tariffs are one of Trump's strongest tools, and Japan doesn't want any part of it. Europe's trying to get on Trump's good side, too, offering to cut their tariffs on American car imports from 10% to just 2.5%.
Let's go.
Trump's flurry of actions are being followed by a tidal wave of results. Border crossings are down 90%. Bill Melugin says, I would have trouble finding illegal aliens if I went down there right now. When Melugin can't find an illegal, the border is secure.
Let's go.
And after Trump said he was going to buy Gaza, the Mideast is scrambling for a solution before Trump becomes their new neighbor. Now, Egypt says they have a clear vision for reconstructing Gaza. Look at that. All of a sudden, what a coincidence. Today, Trump also signed an executive order to create a faith office in the White House that it's going to target anti-Christian bias. And soon he's bringing back plastic straws. No more paper, but men should stay away regardless. Trump's also taking over the Kennedy Center in D.C. He fired the board and appointed himself chairman because they were hosting drag shows. There's been some resistance.
Guys, just want to say thank you so much for your support, guys. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much. Thank you.
California is telling hospitals to ignore Trump's EO on sex changes for kids and still wants to let boys play in girls' sports. We'll see how that works out for Newsom, because this is exactly what America voted for, and they don't want Trump to slow down. They're telling Trump to go harder. Despite the chaos and confusion some of Trump's early actions have caused in Washington, there was a collective shrug among his supporters, several of whom argued that no actual damage has been done. Some thought Trump was being too generous.
Wow.
Trump's not being generous with Joe Biden. He just revoked Biden's security clearance. There is no need for Joe Biden to continue receiving access to classified information. Therefore, we are immediately revoking Joe Biden's security clearances and stopping his daily intelligence briefings. He set this precedent in 2021 when he instructed the intelligence community to stop the 45th president of the United States, me, from accessing details of national security, a courtesy provided to former presidents. The Her report revealed that Biden suffers from poor memory and even in his prime could not be trusted with sensitive information. I will always protect our national security. Joe, you're fired.
Guys, it's beautiful. I wanted to show you this, guys, because the Democrats are literally, when you talk about sabotaging America and sabotaging the America First agenda, listen to this, guys, because there is about to be a huge fight that's going to happen this week because the Democrats are so fearful of what Trump is uncovering. Check this out.
My next question, because your colleague Jeff Merkley
Sorry. Why is it sped up so fast? 1 second.
basically said he's prepared to try to. My next question, because your colleague Jeff Merkley basically said he's prepared to try to shut down the government over some of these sledgehammer actions that he's seeing by Elon Musk. Are you prepared to shut down the government, to join Democratic colleagues who want to stand in the way of keeping the government open?
Well, you have to look at what the Trump administration is doing right now. They are simply trying to. They are simply trying to dismantle the government. So yes, look, if we have to take steps.
Hear it, guys.
To be able to hold them accountable, use the leverage that we have to force it. I cannot support efforts that will continue this lawlessness that we're seeing when it comes to this administration's actions. And for us to be able to support government funding in that way, only for them to turn it around to dismantle the government, that is not something that should be allowed.
So
guys, let me tell you this. When less than 10% of all the USAID goes to the actual people that need the help, what are they trying to cover up? Where's all the corruption? Somebody posted this meme, guys. It is hilarious. Remember when the Democrats were like, we need to see Trump's taxes. We need to see his tax returns. And then as soon as Trump's like, okay, we're going to audit, the Treasury, the Pentagon, Department of Education. We're going to make sure to see where government is spending its money. Everybody's like, you shouldn't see how USAID is spending your tax money. We can't show you that. No. Even though it's government, even though it's taxpayers' money, this is how hypocritical they are. But right now, we've got word now from Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, over some next huge big steps, guys. This week is a big one. Government's going to shut down. A huge budget reconciliation bill is about to be put on the board, and we need to get this passed. Listen to this.
Says it's time to get moving. He's released his own framework. He says this on X. I have tremendous respect for Speaker Johnson. I hope the House will move forward soon, but we cannot allow this moment to pass, and we cannot let President Trump's America First agenda stall. One of the things he cites is Borders are Tom Homan and the operations that are going on. He says you're going to run out of money for what's going on at the border, so he's not going to wait for the House. He's moving ahead.
Yes, Lindsey's a good friend. I have great respect for him as well, and I understand what they're engaging in. They want to move the agenda, and so do we. The President Trump got a mandate to deliver that America First agenda. He's working at breakneck pace, as you just saw in the opening of the show, to do that with the executive branch, and we're going to do it with legislation. So it's a very complicated and complex set of things that we are delivering. Of course, we're going to secure the border. We're going to make sure that American communities are safe. We're going to get American energy dominance going again in the economy and restore common sense. But to do all that in one big bill takes a little bit of time. So we're working through that process very productively. We've been building on this for a year, Shannon. All through last year, we had our committees of jurisdiction working on the ideas to put it together. Last month, we did that in earnest in January. And as recently as this past week, we spent 4.5 hours at the White House on Thursday and 3 hours later that evening working through the final details, and we're very, very close. So I appreciate the Senate's zeal. We have it in the House as well. But as I reminded my friend Lindsey, I have about 170 additional personalities to deal with, and he's only got 53 on the Republican side there. We have, a very diverse caucus with lots of interests, but we are going to get this job done.
So you mentioned the big meeting you had at the White House last week. This weekend at Mar-a-Lago, the Senate GOP team has been with the president. They've got his ear this weekend. You'll have it again, maybe in the box tonight. How do you make the closing message that what you're planning is a better road forward than the Senate?
Well, I talk with the president and his team about this almost constantly, reminding them that we will get the job done, but it has to be the one big bill strategy. And the reason for that is because that gives us the highest probability of success of delivering on all these campaign promises. We will get it done. The president knows that. He invited me to come with him on Air Force One to the game, but I said, Mr. President, I got to go home to North Louisiana and pick up the family first, and I'll meet you at the game. We'll be in the suite. We'll talk about that. He's getting a lot of wise counsel, a lot of advice. But at the end of the day, the House has to drive this process, and we will. We're going to get everybody together.
Okay, when will we see your framework? Monday, Tuesday?
Well, we were going to do a budget committee markup next week. We might push it a little bit further because the details really matter. Remember that I have the smallest margin in history, about a 2-vote margin currently. So I've got to make sure everyone agrees before we bring the project forward. That final product, and we've got a few more boxes to check, but we're getting very, very close.
So I know one of the president's priorities, and yours as well, is to extend those tax cuts that were passed in 2017. Here's what Axios says. Extending those for 10 years could cost $4.6 trillion under the current law scoring used by the Congressional Budget Office. So what is more likely? You find enough offsets in spending somewhere to get that number down, or this talk now that maybe those cuts only are extended 5 years?
Well, we're looking for the offsets, and we have to do that. We have to be good financial stewards, because the other concern is that we are growing the national debt. We don't want to add to the deficit by doing this. So it is a very expensive project. And remember, we've got to spend money to secure the border because the Biden administration opened it wide. We've got to make sure defense spending is covered, and then no tax on tips and these other big priorities that the people elected the president to do. So making all that work in the proper equation is where the math and the hard work comes in. But we're going to make sure that we find the offsets to do this in a responsible manner.
So in the meantime, House Democrats say it looks like you're going it alone. They think this is going to be a party line vote, or at least if you can keep your caucus together, and that you're not actually spending any time negotiating with them. Here's the House Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries.
What do we need to...
Republicans haven't said a single thing to House Democrats about finding common ground to get something done on the budget, on their tax cuts for the wealthy, well-off, and well-connected, on their efforts to dramatically end Medicaid as we know it, or on the debt ceiling.
So is it worthwhile to get some bipartisan effort? You've done that on some big things that you have gotten across the finish line, but he says you're not even talking.
Well, listen, Hakeem is a good colleague, but that hyperbole there is not helpful. I mean, we're not dramatically cutting Medicaid, and we're not doing all these things they accuse the Republicans of. We're trying to get the country back on track and restore America's greatness. And it takes some real effort to do it. There will be things that we're doing in a bipartisan fashion, but the reconciliation process, which we're spending all the time on right now, is by design effectively a partisan exercise. They've done it when they had unified government, and we're doing it this way. So there's plenty of time for all the negotiation, and we'll get to that. And, the Democrats, frankly, are flailing right now. They don't have an identified party leader. They don't have a real vision for the party. And the blitz of all the Trump executive actions have them just at a dizzying pace. And so they're flailing right now. I get it. This is politics, but we're going to get the job done.
So there is a lot to get done in the coming weeks. And part of that is the fact.
Just want to say thank you so much, everybody, for your support. Guys, if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much. Thank you for your support.
We're supposed to run out of government funding on March 14th if something doesn't get done. Here is what Congressman Chip Roy, he's a Republican, says about what may happen on that front.
CRs aren't my favorite vehicle, but the idea that we're going to get approaches done by March 14th, that's pretty low.
So he's thinking the odds aren't good for getting those appropriations done. Continuing resolution, the CR, that Band-Aid, what are the possibilities that that's part of what you have to do to keep things going?
Well, look, all options are on the table right now, but our appropriators have been working in earnest to get that top line number negotiated with the Democrat colleagues, and there's been lots of posturing back and forth, but I think we can get this job done. The appropriators can write the bills quickly enough because a lot of the groundwork, the foundational work, has already been completed. So just getting everyone to agree to what that final spending number is going to be has been the holdup. But we have time. It's early February, and the deadline is March 14th. So there's more to come on that.
So most of
Guys, let me tell you this: the there's a lot of infighting happening right now with the Republican Party because of the tax cuts. Some people want it as two bills. Mike Johnson, Trump want it as one bill. Why? Because if you get it done with one bill, it's one and done. We know when you get it done with two bills, what they do is they get one passed and they say, we really don't want to fight to get that second one versus just doing it all in one big bill. But guys, this is why the Democrats are fighting so hard. U.S. President Trump says Elon Musk will uncover hundreds of billions in U.S. government fraud and abuse. Trump doesn't just say anything to say anything. He knows. And Elon Musk has already shown us hundreds of billions of dollars in fraud and waste, guys. This is literally, to me, the biggest scandal in history that over this year is going to be unveiled. Thank you so much, Alex Fox, for gifting one TrueLife News membership. Let's go. Whoever got a free membership, y'all show Alex some love in the chat. And thank you so much, Brooklyn Chick, for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Brooklyn Chick some love in the chat. There's this, guys, that I'm glad my representative from Tennessee, Tim Burchett, listen what his quote was today. $40 million a week in U.S. taxpayer funds still going to Taliban. Are you, guys, this is what we're talking about. The Treasury. Remember, Elon Musk says, for some reason, we know there's fraud and abuse, but we can't stop it because it has to go through Congress or it has to go through a judge. This is insane that we actively know that we're sending taxpayer dollars to a terrorist group, but yet we still are doing nothing about it. And the Democrats are literally fighting it in Congress, trying to put amendments on all the things that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are trying to do. Listen to this.
I thank my friend from Massachusetts, but nevertheless, I urge my colleagues to oppose this amendment. This amendment has nothing to do with the Ticket Act, and it is not within the jurisdiction of this committee. This amendment, unfortunately, is nothing more than a clear partisan political attack on Elon Musk, whom the president has tasked with running the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge. In November, the American people resoundingly voted for President Trump. Naturally, President Trump is implementing the agenda that the American people voted for. Contrary to the Democrat opinion, there is no fourth branch of government known as the administrative state. No one elected the bureaucracy. Doge is an office within the White House led by Elon Musk to eliminate wasteful government spending and to reduce unnecessary regulations. To fulfill its mission and review wasteful government spending, Doge and its staff, including Elon Musk, must have access to data, including data in the federal payment system, to fulfill its mission requested by the president. And I would note that in just a matter of a couple of weeks, they've already found considerable waste, fraud, and abuse, in particular within USAID. Among the things they discovered that the previous administration was spending money on were $1.5 million for advancing DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala, $6 million for tourism in Egypt, paying for, quote, hundreds of thousands of meals that went to al-Qaeda-affiliated fighters in Syria, funds for the production of opium, the primary ingredient in heroin, in Afghanistan, which chiefly benefited the Taliban. $1 million to help disabled people in Tajikistan become, quote, climate leaders. $1 million to a Hamas-linked charity, and $15 million for contraceptives and condoms in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. You will forgive President Trump and the American people for thinking these expenditures are unnecessary and wasteful. And unfortunately, the hysterical doomsday scenarios of data tampering, privacy concerns, or payment delays or rerouting, touted by Senate Democrats, are false and were dispelled by the Department of Treasury last night in a letter that they sent to Ranking Member Wyden on the Senate Finance Committee. The president is entitled to conduct full review of federal agency spending and regulations through the Doge, and I intend to do everything I can to help ensure that its important mission is carried out. Litigating these partisan matters in this amendment or in this bill isn't appropriate. It's outside the committee's jurisdiction, and I urge my colleagues to oppose the amendment.
You hear that, guys? The Democrats are trying to pass bills right now, trying to work with certain rhino Republicans to try and prevent Doge from literally auditing the government. I wish we could do a strike on taxes and just not pay any taxes till all the audits and financials were audited and we actually knew where the money was going. But again, too, I feel like eventually we're going to get there. President Trump came out and said, President Trump has ordered all federal agencies to provide a list of poor performing employees. Any employee who has received less than a fully successful performance rating in the past 3 years is subject to immediate termination. Cleaning house, y'all. Thank you so much, Sandra Mario Enzi, for the super chat. Let's go. Said God has taken President Trump and America this far, so nothing or no one is going to stop him. Guys, I believe it's coming. But I believe that it's essentially, we're about to see a huge, huge fight on our hands. Why? Because what I'm about to show you next, guys, we're dealing with people's, not just 100,000, not just a million. We're talking tens of millions to even billions of dollars. People do crazy stuff to protect that. Listen to this.
They are the worst people on earth. The reason is they don't believe in anything. They're complete narcissists, nihilists. They're dangerous. And they all have the maturity of 11-year-old children. It's a lethal combination. They don't believe on the spectrum. You know, we can argue with your friends back in the dorms and the houses and the clubs. You have a spectrum. You got populist nationalists on the right. You got Rachel Maddow and people on the left. You have some people are open borders. Some people are hardcore sovereigntists. Everything in between. You debate. Win some, you lose some. That's not them. They're techno-feudalist. They believe in the network state. They don't believe in the United States of America as an idea or an entity. What they believe is in money and power and transhumanism. And transhumanism is just their way. It's not some big idea, but you have Homo sapiens on this side and Homo sapien 2.0 on the other. Theirs is about eternal life. All of them are focused on eternal life because they're godless, soulless, demonic. Those are facts. So President Trump had him at the inauguration. I said it was like General MacArthur having the Japanese Imperial High Command on the battleship Missouri in September of '45 in Tokyo Harbor, or Teddy Roosevelt having them all lined up in back of him, right? You know, his I don't know, water buffaloes, wherever Teddy Roosevelt was going around shooting in a display case. They're supplicants. They came down to Mar-a-Lago after they won. Remember, Bezos got an award from Biden. Think about it a second. Lena Khan, I'm a neo-Brandisian. I believe strongly that antitrust has to be in this country to stop immense concentrations of power privately and the joint and publicly. That's where you don't have a country. That's where you have state capitalism like in China. Remember, the big deal, the Chinese are going to become a more liberal democracy as we put them in the World Trade Organization, had most favored nation, all of it. Didn't happen. Our model is like theirs. I know this because my social credit score got me debanked, deplatformed. You do understand, I am not on any platforms. We are totally, I'm deplatformed in perpetuity on every significant social media platform. And I wear it as a badge of honor. We're the #2 political podcast in the nation and back of Obama's guys, Pod Save America. It shows you if people want the content, they will find the content. But I'm not going to beg and scrape in front of these people.
Guys, let me tell you this. As you know, every single day moves on, I want to show you. I'm telling you, this stuff keeps popping out. and I'm having a hard time keeping up with it because there's so much breaking news. Want to say thank you so much, James Landry. Welcome to the family. Y'all show James some love in the chat. Well, check this out, guys. Did you know that U.S. taxpayers gave Pepsi, we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company, $9.2 million of taxpayer money to rethink how it works with farmers? Because apparently, you know, having a billion-dollar company needs government handouts. Look at this, guys. This is insane. This was the receipt, $9.2 billion. And on top of that, more videos are coming out of people that are close, that are working with certain people in the Doge team. Listen to this, guys.
So more coming out.
You cannot, every single day, fraud and corruption is being revealed. And want to say thank you so much to everybody that's watching, guys. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much. Thank you for your support. Check this out.
So more coming out from Doge. Apparently this time it's the U.S. Treasury Department, who has more waste and abuse of taxpayer funds than so far anything else that they've looked at. 23%. And it appears that there are people receiving entitlements
Listen to
the
this,
tune
guys.
of $50 billion with a B dollars a year that have no known social security number or ID on file. $50 billion, that's $1 billion a week in fraud and abuse. But not only is $1 billion a week going to unknown sources with no social security numbers and no valid ID, in addition to that, apparently the Treasury Department doesn't keep itemized records of their payouts. So there's no way to follow up and check as to where the money is going. So as of right now, the Treasury Department and Elon Musk Doge has agreed that going forward, the Treasury Department will now itemize all of the payments that they make, like where the money's going, to what entities, to whom. It is shocking to me, and it should be shocking to every taxpayer, that our own Treasury Department has no accountability and keeps no formal records of where they're paying.
Guys, tell me I'm not crazy. There's corruption. This is going to be the biggest scandal ever. Remember, we reported that there's literally a line item receipt that says $6 billion in 2023 through USAID to foreign affairs. That's all it says. Foreign affairs. What the heck does that mean? Well, I'm telling you, there's no evidence. Like, they knew what they were doing. They knew how they were intentionally not making sure that there was a paper trail, guys. And that's why this budget reconciliation, this new tax bill, Trump's new bill, is super important to get past ASAP. Listen to this.
For welfare reform and balancing the budget in 1996. When we reformed welfare, half the Democrats voted for it because the voters back home supported it so strongly. And Newt joins us now to talk about it. Newt Gingrich, former House Speaker and a Fox News contributor, thank you so much for being here. I know you had trouble getting here. Really appreciate your effort. So do you see this as one of those moments that would harken back to when you actually were able, with a very persuasive president, Bill Clinton, to balance the budget?
Well, I look back on the fact that we are the only time in the last 100 years that you had 4 consecutive balanced budgets, and the Republicans did it with a Democratic president. So I look at a Republican House, a Republican Senate, a Republican president, and I think, this is a real moment of historic opportunity. It requires, I believe, one big, beautiful bill. It requires moving it early, certainly by May or June at the latest, because you need the economic growth next year. You need a Trump boom in order to keep the House in the elections in 2026. But what's also exciting to me, we've been working on what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has called Make America Healthy Again. And we've been looking at what John Goodman has been doing about Make America Honest Again. And, you know, you begin to realize, by the way, because health is so gigantic, 18% of the economy, if you simply cut out the crooks, you save, I think, well over $1 trillion over the next 10 years. And you start looking at it, when people say to me, how would you pay for the tax cuts? First of all, economic growth pays for a lot of it. But second, I think by reforming health, by making it possible for doctors and patients to work together with less bureaucratic oversight, by making it possible, as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wants to focus on keeping people healthy. I mean, we have a very expensive sick care system, but we don't have a health care system. And as a result, we spend twice as much per person as Switzerland, which is the second most expensive country in the world. Twice as much.
I know.
And a big part of that is just crooks.
Well, meanwhile, Democrats are kind of making it easier for those of us who want to balance a budget by supporting some of the most outrageous crap that has come out of Congress, including binary language training in Sri Lanka, LGBTQ causes in Uganda, like the Uganda folks are all for LGBTQ plus. I mean, their hysteria about saving things that that are obviously the American people by a vast majority don't want should make our job a little easier, right?
Well, what it tells you, and I just went to a Legatus meeting today of very active, very dedicated Catholics, and saw a study of the effort by the USAID program to force a country in Africa to adopt radical policies if they were going to get any money. And you begin to realize USAID was an engine for woke radicalism around the planet. And when you look at the kind of things they were sponsoring, you know, I mean, I'm not totally sure we needed a transvestite opera, for example, or we needed courses in transgenderism. All these things were an effort by the radical left to take our money, use it with the power of our government, and try to radicalize the entire planet. And I think one of the smartest things President Trump has done is close it down, reorganize it, and bring it back in a form where USAID will actually be pro-American and pro-common sense.
Newt, they're giving me a rap, but I really want to get it. You mentioned faith, and faith, I think, is going to play a very important role in Trump 2, this second term of Donald Trump. He spoke about his own faith growing, of course, in light of that horrible assassination attempt, the deadly assassination attempt that we saw over the summer. Roll that tape.
None of us knows exactly when our time on earth will be over. You never know. A truth I confronted a few short months ago when there was an incident that was not fun. It was not a good thing. But God was watching me. No, honestly, it changed something in me. I feel even stronger. I believed in God, but I feel much more strongly about it.
Newt, he's in light of that, he's creating a White House faith office in domestic policy. He's also announced a task force to protect Christians, and people don't realize how much antagonism and death and destruction has resulted from direct attacks on Christians, not only in America, but in places like Nigeria and elsewhere. How much will this focus on faith by the president mean to this second Trump administration?
Look, I think it means a great deal. I think the speech that J.D. Vance just gave means a great deal. The fact is that you've had on the secular left a hatred of both Jews and Christians. You've had a deep belief that everything we believe in is wrong. You had FBI looking at the idea that if you went to a mass in Latin, you may be a subversive terrorist. I mean, the whole thing was crazy. And I think the degree to which the president really was, I've known him a long time, he was deeply affected by surviving. He does believe, as I do, that it was providential, that he turned at the last possible second to save his life, and that the second effort to kill him, I think, was even deeper. And Speaker Mike Johnson was there when the president was told about the second shooter, and they prayed for 2 hours, the two of them alone, because I think all of a sudden it's really sunk into President Trump how important God is and how important it is that we become once again a nation of faith. Let me just close and say, remember, Our Declaration of Independence says we are endowed by our Creator.
That's right.
Yep.
Now think about that.
Absolutely.
Guys, that's amazing. Like, this is stuff that I didn't even know that we're getting from Gingrich, that Mike Johnson and Trump prayed for literally over 2 hours after that second assassination attempt. Like, this stuff is crazy, guys. I wanted to show you this because I'm telling you, Elon Musk is uncovering so much, and now he's uncovered Social Security fraud, guys. He posted this and said, this is hilarious. Just learned that the Social Security database is not deduplicated, meaning you can have the same Social Security many times over, which further enables massive fraud. Your tax dollars are being stolen. And check this out. He said the reason the radical Dems don't want an audit of the Social Security fraud is because they're the ones getting it. You have the richest man in the world who is calling out every single one of these Democrats, all these agencies, because there's trillions of dollars in fraud. And he's seeing it firsthand and showing it to us on X. We've never lived through a time where this much transparency has been possible. Listen to this.
Sworn in tomorrow. Here with reaction, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan and the former White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows. There's only really one way to put this, is the band is back together. You know, the founders of the Freedom Caucus back together. This is a great moment.
It's good to be with you.
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
Do I start with the chief or do I start with the head of the Judiciary Committee? It's kind of hard to tell.
Head of the judiciary, head of the judiciary.
Chief, I'm going to start with you. Welcome back. It's been a while since we've had you.
Right.
You know, it's very predictable. I think Elon Musk what he has done is a great service to this country.
Mm-hmm.
The average American makes 66 grand a year. I don't know what the average North Carolinian makes where you live. 66 grand a year is not a lot. Those people pay a lot in taxes. Same with the people in Ohio and the same with people all around the country.
Yep.
And when you see hundreds of billions of dollars, and this is the tip of the iceberg, that are being wasted. And Joe Biden, we now know, wasted over $236 billion last year that we know of. I mean, why would people be angry at that? And this is not money going to America, but it's going around the world. You know, it's a great way to put it. I think Elon Musk, first of all, his personal accomplishments have benefited every human being on this earth. That's number one. Yep. He's going to rescue our astronauts. He helped the people in North Carolina, the people in Tennessee, the people in California, and he did it for free. And this is the thanks that this guy gets for transforming American communications, American automobiles, American space travel, and now he's trying to transform American government so we save taxpayers money and we can live within our means. Right. And this is how he gets treated, Jim?
Yeah. What's going on here is when you spend money on stupid things, you attack the guy who exposes it. That's exactly what Democrats are doing. The proponents of big government, the recipients of big government spending, they just as soon keep all that secret. But Elon Musk comes along and says, this is ridiculous. As Mark put it out, some trans opera in Ireland, they're funding Sesame Street shows in Iraq. I mean, think about it. China's building bridges and roads in certain countries, and we're putting Big Bird and Bert and Ernie on TV in Baghdad. Who do you think is going to have more influence? So what Elon Musk is saying, this is stupid. Let's stop it. Let's focus on serving the American people, not having these agencies do what they want. Here's another thing, Sean. 10,000 people work at USAID. 1,000 of those 10,000, over 10% of those individuals, 1 month after Hamas attacks our best friend in the state of Israel, 1 month later, those 1,000 people did an open letter calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Are you kidding me? So of course we need to scale this agency back and get rid of some of those people who have that attitude and are saying those kind of things about our dear friend and ally, the state of Israel.
You know, Mark Meadows, I really pride myself in doing a lot of research. And we spend a lot of time looking for waste, fraud, and abuse. I know Senator Joni Ernst had requested this information repeatedly, and they use obscure names to really hide where the money goes and what the money went for. When I grew up in New York, and thank God I don't live there anymore, We used to call that fraud. What do you call it? You know, Jim Jordan, if they want to die, Democrats on this hill, and that is, you know, all this, the billions and tens of billions and hundreds of billions of dollars in money going to other countries for their woke agenda, and they think that's going to be helpful politically. If they want to die on the hill of sanctuary cities and states and defend the terrorists, the murderers, rapists, cartels, and gangs, I'm perfectly fine with their stupidity. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, if they want to do that, you know, God bless them. I think it's wrong. I think that's why they lost on November 5th. I think it's why 77 million people voted for President Trump. And frankly, I think the American people like the intensity and the speed and the focused energy we have seen from President Trump and his team. And they like, I think, what Elon Musk is showing them. And by the way, but for Elon Musk stepping forward and purchasing Twitter, I mean, I think he had a great line. He said, I didn't spend, I think it was 40-something billion. I didn't spend $44 billion to buy Twitter. I spent $44 billion to save the First Amendment.
Yes.
And that's when we first started our look at the censorship industrial complex, big government telling big tech to censor Americans. I don't know that we uncover all that, but for him taking that first step. And now he's going in, digging into government and showing us all the ridiculous things. They spend the hard-earned tax dollars of the families of the 4th District of Ohio, the people I get the privilege of representing. I know the people back home are pleased with the effort of President Trump and Elon Musk and what he's uncovering.
Yeah,
guys, it's beautiful, guys. Little by little, every single day, we're seeing more of the corruption being exposed, because it's one thing to say it's there, it's another thing to find it. American Hooligan, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, guys. Literally have almost 1,800 people watching. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much. And hey, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We want to serve you every day with the top news, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Want to give some love to all the members of the family in the chat, guys. Appreciate you so much. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. We're so grateful for your support. Remember, we take the money from the memberships, from the super chats, and we donate to charity once a month live on stream. Guys, we've already given almost $25,000 because we partnered with you to give back, and you get to see it live on screen so you know we're actually doing it. But I want to give some love to Name Redacted, C24 McD, Tracy Gardner, Brooklyn Chick, Sandra Mario Enzi, Alex Fox, James Landry, American Hooligan. Y'all show them some love in the chat, guys. Such amazing news coming out. So much good stuff, guys. I'm just so excited to continuously be serving you every day with the top news, and just want to say we are so grateful for all your support. We love you. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.